This week, we've got something luxurious, so they say, capable, so they say, but we've got the base model of it. David, what have we got the base model of?
We have a Lexus RX300, a large SUV.
David, you've been driving it for a week, so what's under the bonnet?
This is the base engine, which is a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, 175 kilowatts, not bad, but 350 newton metres, and given that the V6 is only 370, so it's got some reasonable...
It's got some oomph. There's one thing that I did notice about the RX, and it's not something that I was terribly fussed about, and it doesn't show up on this. That's why we've got some other colours where it does show up a little bit better. But this is in fact a very small, what we once called, an opera window, I suppose, once upon a time. And it's got this sheet of black glass with a bit of chrome trim. Now on the other colours, as you can see, that shows up really well, and it makes the roof look like it's floating.
This line gives me a view of the old cars of the 30s, the saloons that had that compartment in the back that said there was someone who owned the vehicle was sitting in there and being chauffeured.
The thing I like about these doors is they're very, very long, and they also open very wide. And the other thing is, there is a shade, because you won't be able to hear me.
Good room here to the seat in front, and I think the passenger seat is back a reasonable way. Not quite as much support under here as I would like, but I do like the centre armrest with, of course, cup holders, and I do have a seat warmer down here as well. So nice interior. I feel like I'm in a plush environment.
This is either an all-wheel drive with all-wheel drive, an all-wheel drive with all-wheel drive, or a two-wheel drive driving the front wheels like this one. Even in this weather, you said that you've had the wheels scampering a bit. You've had this car all week.
I was turning around, I was doing a 3-point turn, and I thought, oh, you know, there's a car coming, a little bit of accelerating, not wild, and it just...
Well, I've seen Nikki Lauder trying to do 3-point. I'm just going to call you Nikki from now on, although perhaps I should choose someone that's still alive. So there's a few updates that this car got. The LED headlights are now super fancy multiple cell mirror LED lights on these top versions. So although this is the base model, it's the top model of the base model. So this is the sport luxury. Now the other thing I want to point out is this new 12, I think, 0.3 inch touchscreen. Hallelujah. That's your biggest complaint, has been this.
This pad that you can work here, I'm uncomfortable with. I struggle to get it to work. I tried to enter an address.
The only way to enter or cancel navigation in a Lexus, in my view, is with voice. It's one of the very few brands where that's preferable. The interior, I think this is first class. Now I noticed you've got your seat heating on.
So you like the interior. Do you know how Lexus describes it? It's a matrix of premium material collaboration and feel and shape, which melds, lovely word there, Alan, melds to...
I feel like I'm bloody well melding.
Excellent build quality. So I think the better way to...
Couldn't they just have said it's a luxurious interior?
I think the better way to say it is I quite like it.
Yeah, I love the stitching, the dash, everything is nice and soft and it feels like good quality. The dash, I'm a little disappointed with here. I think that could have been a single LCD screen like it is in the Land Rover and other brands. Even the top Lexuses, they've got an LCD screen, but it's got that analog overlay. How do you find the handling? I'm thinking this is very car-like. The steering, this is in comfort mode. I find very light.
Soft, easy, comfortable on this sort of secondary road with a somewhat coarse bitumen. It's quiet in its interior noise, so I think it's becoming very, very car-like.
It is very car-like. The ride is lovely. And the thing I think you can't really explain to people, it's very difficult to get this through and film, is it feels incredibly light. It feels like it weighs just a few hundred kilos.
They are pushing the power at 175 kilowatts, I think. And the notion of that is that that's almost what a Commodore was. So, but if you go to the V6, you get 221. If you go to the V6 with the hybrid, you get a combined 230. So you're talking what is basically a WRX sort of power,
Yeah.
roughly speaking. So you're getting a good amount. Perhaps we've learned to be spoiled a bit over the years.
Well, we have, and we've got fancy lane guidance. If the lines disappear, apparently, so I read in the blurb, this will follow the car in front.
Oh, okay.
But I did try that with you when you were driving the Land Rover just then, and it didn't seem to be following you. So I don't know.
Perhaps it was beneath its status.
Well, I think it knew that it was following you.
Drop back.
Drop back, not just a couple of car lengths.
It's selling quite well. It's now third in the list behind a Mercedes and a BMW. It's a bit ahead of the Audi Q7. Now, Audis normally
That's
sell
interesting.
across the board. Audi sell more than Lexus in Australia, but I think the Q7 is rather a bland-looking car.
And the E all-wheel drive, which this isn't, but the E all-wheel drive uses the electric motor to drive the rear wheels.
Yeah.
And they also use that, I think, in the hybrid Yaris.
Yes, they do. In the Yaris Cross.
Cross, yes.
That's coming into this.
Yes.
It's an interesting development that
Review for that to come in a few weeks.
we are now moving into hybrids, not just to being a bit of an assistance, but being a much more integral part of the car. And in the all-wheel drive component, then they drive the back wheels and the engine drives the front. So we miss what you and I grew up with, which was the tunnel.
Yeah.
Of the drive shaft going down through the back seat.
Oh, well, I don't miss that. I don't.
No.
I mean, the tunnel made the middle passenger in the rear. Not that you have that often, but
Correct.
you were always the kid that had to sit in the middle and
Yes.
put his legs either side of the tunnel, trussed up like a Christmas turkey.
You can tell you were the unloved child.
Yeah, well, there are only two of us, so whenever anybody else was in the, aunties or uncles, my great auntie Ag, God rest her soul, whenever she was in the car as well, I'd be relegated to the middle.
Yes.
So the other things that the upper range, even though this is the base model, gets is the fancy Mark Levinson audio, which of course is owned by the Harman Group along with Bang & Olufsen and JBL, etc. We have memory seats, 3 of them. We have electric steering adjustment, plus we have electric steering for the wheels. The layout for the air conditioning and climate control is really very good. It's simple, succinct, it's easy to follow, and David, you don't need to consult the little thing in the glove box every time you want to do something. And of course, the thing that I really like is the analog clock. That's so all of the posh brands that I really like, at Maserati, Rolls-Royce, use a digital clock that harkens back to the 1930s, the golden era of motoring, if you didn't mind muddy roads, flat tyres and goo in your face every time you stepped out the front door. I've got a heads-up display where I've got my digital display here.
Yeah.
It's also showing me the line markings.
It's in most of the models, and I think, again, heads-up display is developing into good information that just keeps you informed without taking your attention as much. I like heads-up display.
Me too. If you've liked the review, hit like, yes, leave a comment. Now, where are we going to put the subscribe button? Over your side?
My side?
I think just over there.
Oh, here we go.
There to subscribe.